Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Mummy can handle this. He endures blistering winds and scorching desert.
Ever notice something weird about Shrek villains? They show up, steal the entire movie, break reality a little, and then casually exit as if nothing happened, while your brain is still stuck on them. The real problem isn't that they're evil, it's that they're way too memorable for characters who are supposed to be defeated and forgotten.
Yelling makes me so parched. Anyone care for some water? Wet your whistle?
Lord Farquaad. This is a man who has a literally towering ego but requires a step stool to look a donkey in the eye. He looks like he cuts his own hair with a bowl. He is the type of person who buys a big sports car because he can't reach high shelves in a store. He wants to build a perfect kingdom, but he is too lazy to leave his comfortable room to see it. The brilliance of Farquaad is how seamlessly he bridges the gap between a pathetic joke and a ruthless fascist.
My swamp, where you dump those fairy tale creatures.
Indeed.
He is also very lazy. He is a ruler who makes other people do his dangerous work. Instead of fighting a dragon himself, he holds a contest and makes a big ogre do it for him. Nothing captures this better than the famous scene with the gingerbread man. Farquaad stands over the tiny cookie and angrily pulls off his candy buttons. He demands to know where all the fairy tale creatures are hiding. Then, he gives a speech to his knights and says, "Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make."
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
This line made him famous. He doesn't care about being brave or honorable. He only cares about having a clean, neat kingdom where he looks tall. Fairy Godmother. Moving from a literal monster to a corporate one, we meet the undisputed queen of passive-aggressive control, the Fairy Godmother. To see exactly how she runs the kingdom like a ruthless Fortune 500 CEO, look no further than her iconic piano top musical number inside her massive potion factory.
I toss and I turn and I dream of what I need.
In a single, flawlessly choreographed sequence, she systematically halts industrial assembly lines, climbs onto a grand piano, and delivers a powerhouse performance. But while she is belting out Broadway-level vocals about destiny, her corporate mask slips to reveal a chilling monopoly on happiness. Between perfect verses, she is casually ordering a tactical hit on Shrek, blackmailing King Harold, and treating a fairy tale legacy like a predatory business acquisition.
If you really love her, you'll let her go.
She doesn't grant wishes out of the kindness of her heart, she does it for equity, market control, and to force a corporate merger between her lazy son and the royal bloodline.
Fiona, my princess, would you honor me with a dance?
If your life doesn't fit her rigid, profitable blueprint of a happy ending, she will use her entire industrial empire to ruin you. By letting her dazzling showmanship double as cold corporate malice in that single scene, she proves that a sweet grandmother in a sparkly pink dress can be the most terrifying executive in animated history. Prince Charming. If the fairy godmother is the brains of the operation, her son, Prince Charming, is the ultimate nepo baby who inherited absolutely none of them. Charming functions as a brilliant deconstruction of the classic happily ever after hero, exposing the sheer entitlement hidden behind a perfect jawline. Instead of a brave knight, he is a fragile, codependent mama's boy who treats the entire world like a personal spotlight. Without his mother's magical monopoly or sharp wit, his raw incompetence forces him to rely on pathetic tantrums and wearing incredibly tight pants. His narrative trajectory in Shrek III highlights this beautifully.
Whoa there, Chauncey!
The brave Prince Charming approacheth!
Reduced to performing embarrassing dinner theater in a shady tavern, his response to failure isn't to become a hardened warlord.
You're right. I can't let this happen. I can't!
Instead, he riles up a crew of bitter, forgotten fairy tale extras to stage a literal, high-budget musical where he can execute Shrek live on stage. It is a masterclass in pathetic villainy, a guy trying to run a hostile government coup with the petty mindset of an insecure theater kid. Rumpelstiltskin.
Terms are in the details, Balsa boy.
Sayonara, termites! Hello, Acme!
Now we have Rumpelstiltskin. If Prince Charming is a clown, then Rumpelstiltskin is like a shady lawyer you see on a cheap roadside billboard. Rumpelstiltskin is an absolutely greasy grifter wrapped in a velvet coat and an array of emotional wigs. He wears shoes that make loud clicking noises when he stomps around his palace. He is a tiny con artist who uses long, complicated legal papers to trick desperate people into giving up everything they own. That becomes obvious when he finally gets real power. As soon as he takes over the kingdom, he changes his wig depending on his mood. He has a wig for anger, a wig for business, and a wig for celebration.
Wolfie, my angry wig.
He forces people to feed his giant pet goose, and he uses classic fairy tale creatures as decorations in his home. He is a small man with huge power, and he throws fits whenever things don't go exactly as his legal papers say they should. King Harold.
Shrek, Fiona, will you accept an old frog's apologies?
The next villain occupies a strange, tragic space on this list because he didn't start out wanting to be a villain. King Harold, Fiona's father. He is a man who is always having a midlife crisis. He constantly sweats through his royal clothes because he is hiding a huge secret. He looks like a dignified king, but he spends most of his time being scared. He is evil only because he is weak and insecure. He isn't naturally bad, he is just a coward who wants to keep his comfortable life. He is even willing to hire someone to kill his new son-in-law, Shrek, just to protect himself. His most memorable scene takes place during his secret meeting at the Poison Apple Tavern. He sits in a dark corner, completely terrified, trying to make a deal with Puss in Boots while wearing a heavy cloak to hide his face. Later, his guilt catches up with him. In the end, he makes a sacrifice by blocking a magic blast with his own armor. This turns him back into his original, formal, tiny green frog. His villainy stems from his desperate need to belong in a world where he clearly doesn't fit. Humpty Dumpty.
That was me and you, Puss. Me and you.
Shifting gears to the broader universe, we encounter a literal egg that has become one of the most emotionally manipulative masterminds in animated history. Humpty Dumpty is a walking, talking egg who wears a leather vest and thinks he is a clever criminal. He has a big, bald head, tiny little arms and legs, and a huge amount of emotional pain from being bullied as a child.
Why don't you pick on somebody your own size? Who asked you, breakfast?
Humpty's threat level is unique because it is entirely psychological. He understands the power of shared trauma and childhood bonds, using Puss's loyalty and guilt as a weapon to completely destroy his life from the inside out. The ultimate betrayal occurs in the middle of the desert. He reveals that everything that happened, from the bank robbery to chasing the goose, was all planned by him just to embarrass Puss in Boots. He goes from crying and acting clumsily to being cold and clever while standing on top of a flying machine. This shows just how dangerous an egg with a grudge can really be. Big Jack Horner.
All of the magic in the world. For me, is that so much? Yes! Agree to disagree.
While Humpty Dumpty was dramatic, now we meet someone who is the complete opposite of a sympathetic villain. Big Jack Horner is a giant man dressed in purple who runs a baking business. He had a loving family, a successful business, and a great childhood, but he chose to become a monster anyway because he simply thought being evil sounded fun.
You know, I never had much as a kid. Just loving parents, and stability in a mansion.
Jack Horner is the ultimate critique of pure greed. He completely rejects the modern idea of making villains likable or understandable. He is proudly, totally, and hilariously evil. He knows he is a monster and he loves every moment of it. So, when he uses his magical items, his own workers are falling into danger right next to him. When a small talking cricket tries to tell him to be nice, Jack simply admits that he has no good side.
You're an irredeemable monster!
Oh, what took you so long, idiot?
He shoots magic lasers, throws exploding pies, and laughs through it all, making him incredibly entertaining to watch. The Pied Piper. While Jack uses strength and weapons, some villains prefer a more creative method.
Pied Piper.
The Pied Piper is a silent fighter who never says a word. He relies completely on his musical instrument to get things done. He looks like a cool, leather-clad rock star from a fantasy world. He carries a special flute that works like a remote control for living creatures. He turns a simple children's story into a terrifying weapon. He is a professional fixer who gets hired to solve problems, and he changes his settings depending on who is paying him.
Looks like it's time to pay the piper.
His skills during the ambush in the forest. With just one quick twist of his flute's dial, he switches his music from controlling rats to controlling ogres. Suddenly, an entire army of tough warriors becomes completely helpless. They are forced to break dance against their will in a big synchronized line. He wins battles without ever using a sword, proving that a good tune can be far more dangerous than a whole army of knights. Witch Coven.
Hey! Will you witches make up your mind, please?
The Pied Piper isn't the only magical being who works for money. The Witch Coven is a group of cackling, green-skinned women who wear classic pointed hats. But they act more like a rough gang of bikers from a fantasy wasteland. They fly around on broomsticks, smoke cigars, and use their dark magic to enforce Rumpelstiltskin's rules across the ruined kingdom. The witches represent a complete breakdown of order in the alternate timeline. They are like working-class people who just happen to cast curses for a living. They are memorable because they take an old, scary fairy tale idea and make it modern and funny. During a big chase scene, they fly next to a carriage and throw exploding pumpkins like grenades. They treat their dark magic like a fun job, hanging out in lounges and causing trouble for regular citizens. Big Bad Wolf. Not every classic fairy tale character enjoys working for a living.
What?
The Big Bad Wolf, who has completely given up on being a scary predator. He spends his days lying around on silk sheets, wearing a pink grandmother's nightgown, and reading fashion magazines with a bored look on his face. He goes against everything you expect. He is supposed to be a terrifying monster who eats children. But in reality, he is just a lazy guy who wants to be comfortable and avoid any unnecessary work. He is iconic because he subverts expectations. He is supposed to be scary, but he is just lazy and sarcastic. Whenever characters ask him for help, he just sighs, turns the page of his magazine, and says something dry and funny. He only helps the heroes because he does not want the world to end while he is trying to rest. The Dragon.
I can see it in your eyes.
Uh-oh.
Before the wolf settled down, another classic fairy tale monster had to completely redefine her purpose in the franchise. The dragon starts as the absolute final boss of a dark fantasy movie, a massive ruby-red beast built to chew up knights and spit out their armor, guarding a lonely tower surrounded by boiling lava. She has all the markings of a terrifying, legendary threat. But as we all know by now, a few smooth compliments from Donkey completely shatter those expectations, immediately pivoting her entire character arc from a horrific monster into a full-blown romantic comedy co-star.
It's not a cry you can hear at night.
She quickly transforms from a terrifying castle guard into the ultimate high-stakes ally. Her most legendary contribution to the plot is crashing straight through a stained glass cathedral window to swallow Lord Farquaad whole in a single, effortless bite. It's the perfect showcase of her dual nature. She can switch from an affectionate partner to a lethal, building-sized weapon in a split second, proving she's the ultimate powerhouse you never want to cross. Death.
I just love the smell of fear.
Finally, we reach the most dangerous character in this universe. Death is a tall, thin white wolf wearing a dark cloak. He carries 2 silver sickles that make a chilling sound when they click together. He doesn't want money, magic, or a kingdom. He is the actual idea of death itself, hunting down anyone who treats life like a cheap game.
You are no bounty hunter. You are death.
He is the most unforgettable villain because he completely changes the movie's mood. The moment he appears, the jokes stop, the bright colors fade, and the film turns into a real thriller. He represents the one thing you cannot escape with a funny comment or a catchy song. The most iconic moment is in the bar scene. He corners Puss, draws blood with a quick flick of his blade, and slowly drags his weapons along the ground, creating sparks in the dark. He moves with unnatural, terrifying speed, appearing out of nowhere. He reminds everyone that even in a world full of magic and fairy tales, the end is always waiting for you. And that's the real problem with Shrek villains. They don't just get defeated, they get remembered like main characters who accidentally chose the wrong story. Let me know whether they are actually villains, or just the most entertaining part of the whole movie, down in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the next video on your screen.